Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Welcome to Talk Gertie to Me, the Charm Patterns podcast, where we chat vintage glamour, sewing, creative rabbit holes, and fashion history, all through a campy, queer, and feminist pop culture lens. So throw on your favorite silk robe, grab a mocktail, and let's get started. Welcome to part 2 of our mailbag series. So as I mentioned in the last episode, we've broken this up into 2 parts. In the last episode, we talked about charm questions, business questions, creative questions. And now in this episode, we are going to be delving into your personal questions. So I'm very excited. Let's get started.
So now we're going to get to some of the personal questions, which I think are really fun. I've been dying to know for a while, Gertie, are you ever planning on finishing some of your tattoos? Your tattoos are very well placed, suited for your vintage styles. Did you plan them this way? What was your body art journey? Hopefully it's not too personal.
Hopefully.
It's very sweet.
No, that is very sweet. Well, the time that I was doing like the pandemic live streams, people would ask me about my tattoos like a lot. That was like one of my like off limits topics. I was like, I don't want to talk about my tattoos and I don't want to talk about like my dating life. Mm-hmm. And we can talk about pretty much anything else.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just felt like it did feel pretty personal.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, well, who cares?
I know. Everyone's looking at them anyway.
Everyone's got a personal journey. I got my first tattoo when I was 18.
This is how it starts. I did the same thing.
Yeah. I feel actually very lucky now that it looks well planned.
It does look cohesive.
I was looking at my chest piece, like this was just like yesterday. And I was like, what was I thinking? Like 46-year-old Gertie is like, that's not a risk I want to take. But I got this when I was like 21.
Yeah. It looks great.
Thanks. Having a moment where I'm like, it is a goddamn miracle looking in this mirror that I still like it. And this worked out for me.
I mean, really, what a win.
Yeah, but not all of them have been wins.
No.
And we've been talking about that too. So my first tattoo, I was 18. And I was like, I'm just going to get something small on my hip, which is not an area I want tattoos these days.
Yeah.
But I had this like illustrated book of like folk art, like fairies and stuff like that. And there's a picture of like a fairy on a dragonfly. And I thought it was really beautiful. And I went to like...
It's so cute.
I know. Oh, that's so sweet. But I went to like St. Mark's Place and found someone who would do it.
Yeah.
And like the first person I went to was just like, the lines are too fine. And then I found a guy who was just like, well, I don't care. Give me whatever, like give me $50 and I'll do. And this tattoo, it is nearly unrecognizable now. They were not wrong. Like
it's
that was
not a fairy on a dragonfly? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like people who see it for the first time are like, what is that? And then like I thought about covering it up recently, as you know. I almost did. And I took a picture of it. And you know how Google, like, it does the identification of what's in the picture now? It identified my tattoo as a lizard. Question mark. No, it didn't say question. It was like, lizard, maybe? Trying to identify, what am I looking at?
Love that.
So yeah, that was my very first one. And then when I moved to San Diego, I just got really into traditional American tattoos.
I mean, thank gosh.
Thank God, yeah. I mean, it just fits with the whole vintage aesthetic.
Yeah.
Before I was as into vintage as I am now. So the great thing about like traditional American is that there are only so many motifs that make up this language, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's your swallows, your nautical stars, your spider webs.
You're getting a rose somewhere.
You're getting a rose. I have like 22 roses on my body. Like that's a classic for me.
I mean, I never even thought about it, and I have 2.
Exactly. See? So yeah, there was a time in my life when I got a lot of tattoos, and then I just stopped.
Yeah.
I had like half a sleeve completed. Like this, my left arm, part of it was not colored in until, like 6 months ago? Yeah, like I went like 15 years.
I feel like we never even talked about tattoos till like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
It just never came up.
All of a sudden, I was like, I'm going to get that one filled in.
It looks beautiful.
And then at the ripe age of 46, I made like a tattoo.
Spontaneous, just choice.
Yeah. So last summer, I was in P-Town. My friend Tom was getting a tattoo. And I was like, oh, he always gets a tattoo in P-Town. He gets one every year. I know.
Wow.
And he doesn't decide what it's going to be until he gets there.
It turns out.
He'll be like the day of. He'll be like, well, I think I know what I'm going to get today.
That's what all the tattoos on my arm are.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So it was Pink Pony summer last summer. And I was not in a good mental space last summer.
You know, sometimes you're on vacation and you feel in the moment and you feel like everything's going to be better if I make this wild choice that doesn't feel like me.
Yeah, and I will say that genuinely, without laughing at myself, the song Pink Pony Club really had a big impact on me. And the video,
Yeah.
especially.
I mean, it's a banger. We were listening to Chapel on the radio today and listen at least 3 times a week if I control the radio.
So anyway, I got a pink cowboy boot on my arm, like in the middle of nowhere. Like, I mean, on my forearm. I was like, why not?
Yeah.
I'll get that, and then I'll fill in around it.
Yeah.
And I will say that I've never regretted a tattoo
Yeah.
until this tattoo, and it was immediate and it was brutal. Like
By the time you got home from vacation, you're basically quietly like, I've made a terrible mistake. Like, what have I done?
the effect on my mental health of having made a permanent choice that I was regretting on my body. So now I understand why people are like, you're not going to like that when you're 90 or whatever people say. I was like, I've ruined my life. I would look at it and just be like, I ruined my life.
Yeah, as a person outside of your brain, I was like, oh, look at that.
You were laughing at me every night when you went home?
I was not laughing at you. I was like, oh, that's a cute cowboy boot. Huh, she likes cowboy stuff.
I do like cowboy stuff.
Which is true. You do like cowboy stuff. And yeah, for you, it was like as if you put the cowboy boot on your forehead. Like you were like, you know what I need, like on the tip of my nose, a cowboy boot. But it's like just on your arm.
I was like tortured by that tattoo. I do these 20-minute strength workouts, and I would be like in a plank, and the boot would stretch out on my forearm in this weird shape. And I would just look at it and be like, well, you happy with how you ruined your life? Anyway, long story short, I got it covered up.
You did.
And I got this big purple rose on my forearm now. And I will tell you, you can turn your mental health around. Because now I'm like, oh, wow, I'm so happy when I look down at my forearm.
It's beautiful and it makes sense.
Yeah, and my tattoo artist and I, who I love, the other thing I would say is if people want tattoo tips is finding one artist that you really trust.
Yeah.
Like this artist, he just hand draws roses on me.
Yeah.
And I trust him to do that.
Yeah, if you're on the boardwalk making a spontaneous decision.
Oh,
in the
this
seaside.
blue star.
This blue.
I got that in Coney Island in a shack. And there was
You
a
were
drug deal going down.
This looks sanitary.
Yeah. But I actually love this little
is
blue
really
star. Anyway, Dorothy Parker had a little blue star inside her. Yep, that's right.
There you go.
But that's all to say that I really trusted this person. And once I went back to him to have him fix my mistake, and he didn't judge me. He was just like, okay, what do you want to do on top of that? You know what I mean?
Well,
Just whatever.
What sick-ass panther do you want? This is a term you taught me.
Oh, yeah, because I spent a lot of time on the Reddit tattoo cover-ups board. And the running joke there is people post a picture of their pink cowboy boot or whatever and be like, what can I cover up? And the answer is always sick ass panther. Because those traditional black American panthers, they'll cover up anything pretty much.
Yeah. Yes.
So anyway, I'm now happy. And we had even talked about filling an entire second sleeve in on my right arm. And I'm loving my purple rose so much that I'm just I think I might just hold.
Take your time. Do it for your 50th.
So tell us about your tattoos, because you have an embarrassing tattoo and I want you to talk about it now.
Yeah. I know. I promised I would talk about my
you
embarrassing
did.
tattoo, which is that in 1999 I was 18.
Sure.
And Tom and I were like, we should get tattoos, which is what you say when you've been together 4 months.
Well, yeah.
And
look at you
let's go
now.
get tattoos. I know. And he went and got a very large tribal across his shoulders.
Sure.
Which now, if you don't want a sick-ass panther, you can also get a giant screaming eagle, which is now what's on his shoulders covering his tribal up.
I love that.
And I was like, the height of beauty
Yes.
is a lower back tattoo, affectionately known as a tramp stamp.
Of course.
And so I have now I know, a slightly crooked tramp stamp on my lower back. That's a tribal.
Yeah.
And then I went and I was like, I'm going to get it covered up. And instead of covering it up, I had my artist, and he and I were like, okay, we've got a plan. I'm going to solve this tiny tramp stamp with a full back tattoo of William Morris wallpaper designs. It took 2 years.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's huge. I remember he said to me, yeah, there's no way to cover this up.
Yeah, why?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe you could get a sick-ass panther now.
I would need just like a flock of panthers. Like it's my whole back, shoulder to hip. Except here's what's so
No,
insane.
but to your tramp stamp. Why can't you cover up your tramp stamp? I don't understand.
Well, so this is what's so insane.
Okay.
Is that we started the whole thing and we were going to cover the stamp. And then we didn't. And so I had this huge art piece.
You have William Morris.
I have William Morris, and then I have my
just
tiny
capped
little,
off by a tribal.
Capped off by a crooked tribal done by a bus driver at this like crazy tattoo place in Poughkeepsie. I should go back. But the best thing about my back is that there's no room left.
Yeah.
It was very uncomfortable. Just leave it that way, because when they get to your ribs, I wanted to just turn around and punch my friend who was doing it.
If I can't see it.
That's the thing, is I do forget it's there.
There's no appeal to me if it's not
Yeah.
if I can't see it.
Yeah. And then I had 2 extra appointments because we would do this in 6 sessions over 6 months. What a long tattoo story.
Oh my
but
God.
that's why I have tattoos on my arm, which are the ones people would see in videos. And so I have flowers for my 2 kids. Oh. And then I have a rose with a dagger.
I love a rose with a dagger.
Picked out of a book. That looks great. Do that today. And I think after my back, after you do something big, it's it is a little freeing to be yeah, pick it out of a book. Let's not have consultations and meetings about it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Where are you on your journey, or do you think you'll get more?
I would love to fill in my arm, but it's just so much time. And I made the mistake of doing my back over the summer, and so I could never go swimming. And then I'm okay, so tattoos are for the winter. And then it just is the time of doing it. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
On my arms, I don't mind it at all. And I don't have to do my back ever again, so that's a bonus. But I don't know how you do the top of your feet.
I do not recommend that.
My sister did that too.
It is incredibly painful, and also there are nerves there. So I was kicking through the whole involuntarily. Yeah, it was so awful. The other thing I've now experienced is, because of my tattoo regret on my arm, is laser tattoo removal, air quotes, removal. I thought I would try to just fade it, which is something that they recommend if you're going to get a cover up. It is incredibly painful. That's a well-known fact, but it's very fast. This would be done in 10 seconds, but it's incredibly fast, but it's incredibly painful. And it really didn't do much. I did 3 sessions. Did not do a lot. Anyway.
Let's move on to another one that I want to hear about. Do you miss having brightly colored hair? I've been around long enough to remember the bright pink and blue. Which color was your favorite? And if you could dye your hair any color now, what would it be?
I don't miss it. I think that's sort of that's an era of Gertie and charm where I'm I wasn't really quite there with how I wanted things to look, you know.
Everyone gets baby bangs at some point.
And not even I had long brown hair and baby bangs, and then I cut it, and then it was pink, so I had pink baby bangs and shorter hair, kind of a bob. Yeah, and I kind of wasn't quite where I wanted the whole look of charm to be, and I think I associate the pink hair and the blue hair and the purple hair with that era.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm much happier with the natural color. It is now. I don't do any color.
It's more natural than most people's hair. Really.
But the one thing I would want to do is I have a lot of grays. And
don't we all?
And I don't have any plans to try to cover them up. But I do have a silver streak on this side, which I like. Michelle Visage on RuPaul's Drag Race, who's a judge, she has the most beautiful silver streaks, one on the top in she does those retro waves with a silver streak, and then one on the side. And I want that
the pure silver
Yes.
of it. Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah. Okay.
But I did talk to Missy, our hairdresser, and she's just like, yeah, that's not really a thing you can just go in and get. It's like a whole process. And it would really damage my hair a lot. So she was like, I could do some clip-in extensions for you, or like a lace front, or like...
We could just try a wig for a while first. I mean, you're working your way towards a nice silver streak.
Yeah. I think it's refreshing for people when they see people with grays.
Yeah.
Because there is this feeling that you have a moral obligation to cover up your grays when they start coming in. And like, I'm just opting out.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. At least for now. Never say
I
never.
dye and color my hair all the time, but it always comes back, which you got to deal with. Okay. I love this question. How often do you get recognized and fangirled over in the street?
That is a very cute question. I will say it really only happens in areas where you might expect to see someone from the charm community. So like in a fabric store, in Palm Springs, at like a vintage store, Dapper Day, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Dapper Day, I have a big community there and I get to feel like a celebrity. But like, going to the Target in Newburgh, I've never been recognized. Yeah, I wouldn't say, like, especially, I tend, as we've talked about, there can be full Gertie hair, makeup, the look. Or like if I go to Palm Springs and go out to dinner, I wear a waterfall dress or something. I think people are more likely, I might see people who put it together.
When we go out, people awkwardly cannot stop themselves from telling you they love your style.
That is true.
We can be walking out of a movie theater and someone's like, oh my God. And I'm like, okay, we got to get to the car.
How did you get your hair like that? And it'll just be like,
you don't want to know.
Like, are you going to put curlers in tonight? You going to get some Lotta body and put on a scarf? Like, what? Yeah. Yeah, people do react to the vintage style, which is nice. But
yeah. Okay, so these are kind of two connected questions. So I'm going to start, which is, I absolutely love vintage-inspired dresses, but unfortunately I can only wear them for a couple hours before I have to go back to comfy clothing, which for me means pants, preferably knit and loose-fitting. Does anyone on the charm team struggle with sensory issues? And if so, what are their favorite charm patterns for every day?
Read the next one, too.
Okay, so the question that we think goes along with this is, as I get older, I'm almost 40. Not me, the question person. I feel like my body shape is changing. As someone who uses their body measurements every day in their work, do you feel pressured to keep your body measurements consistent? And have you found that harder as you get older?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
answer is yes. Yes. Is that thing? Yes. No, I mean, I think, I'm in my 40s, and I feel like as my 40s have marched on, I do feel my body changing a lot. And even just like where, like my measurements are changing. Yeah. Like where your weight is distributed changes. Another thing that has changed for me is like, I don't love the feeling of things touching my body anymore.
Same.
Which is really hard when we make this kind of clothing. And I think there are ways to get around it. I think, this is also the divide between Gretchen and Gertie, right? We make clothes for photo shoots for Gertie. And like the idea is that she'll be able to wear like a dress with 0 inches of ease just all day with a Merry Widow and a corset and whatever. And I would used to do that in my everyday life.
You did. When I started, I mean, I was like hiking boots and a fleece. And I would come into the studio and you were Gertie.
Yeah, full Gertie.
Like full, just beautiful dress and shoes. And I was like, oh my God, are they going to let me stay in this?
And I think a part of being perimenopausal, I'll just say it,
is a big topic.
Things touching your body start to feel very different. And so now there are patterns that I think I would wear more in my everyday life that I'd be more comfortable in. Like the cinch it dress, the popover dress from Jiffy Dresses, things that you can use shirring on. And one thing that we've been experimenting with is putting shirring into dresses that wouldn't otherwise have it. Like in back panels, do elastic shirring. The caftan, I think, was sort of like...
Caftan's a dream.
a dream. Yeah, if you're really feeling those sensory issues. Like it does have the inner elastic belt, but you could wear that and then like undo it.
The inner elastic belt is pretty comfy.
And it doesn't have to be tight.
It's one of the few things I've made for myself in
Yeah.
ever. And I just love that caftan. I wear it to just like run errands sometimes because it's comfy. And when I just don't want my body to be touched. I mean, I like shapeless black sacks because I also like am perimenopausal in my butt. I mean, I'm not publicly doing this, which feels like a whole other brain space, right?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't want things to touch me, and my whole body's changed and life happened, and now I'm like, oh my God. But, you know, it's okay to only wear dresses for a couple hours.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
then take it off.
Or like make hacks, you know, changes to make them work for you. You know, using belts, elastic belts is a great way to like get that cinch without it being super tight and still being able to move.
And you're really good with our overall, like, it's a hard thing to have people constantly measure you.
Yeah.
And talk about Gertie's body, which we do all the time.
All the time. Yeah. It is interesting and it has been uncomfortable at times. Because I think my weight has fluctuated more than people realize maybe, you know, because I do use a lot of shapewear. And once you get the same like proportions, I don't think people have an awareness of like, oh, she looks 10 pounds. I don't know. I'm just making this up. Maybe they do. Maybe people are tracking my weight. I don't know. But like I've been in a range of like 30 pounds since I started charm patterns, you know, and in various like points in those 30 pounds. And I think for me, like having had a lot of fluctuations throughout my life, it's like trying not to panic when I feel my weight going up.
Yeah.
Trying not to congratulate myself too much when I feel it going down.
That's a really important one.
Like not putting the moral label on wherever I am. And I think the other thing that's hard is that like you guys aren't going to tell me like, oh, I think you need to be making a different size. Like I feel like I've had to, which is fair, like initiate those conversations. You know, we made like one size for me for years, right? And then I would use shapewear to fit into it. And then finally I was like, I don't think I'm this size anymore. I think we might need to start making the size up.
Yeah.
Like we need to start exploring like what is my body looking like now and what size are we making for me? And it's going to be like, especially in this stage of my life, I think that's going to be, those conversations are just going to be more constant. And we did like a 3D scan of my body to try to like get a handle on some things. It's a long story. But anyway, like it turns out that one of my boobs is bigger and lower than the other. No, lower and whatever.
There's some asymmetry.
There's some asymmetry. But I have not really been that aware of it. And it's come up in so many meetings.
We've had at least 3 meetings where I'm like, I cannot believe we're talking about this.
And I was like, I don't know. This feels like a unique experience to my life that we have in meetings for this company that I run. We're talking about my right boob all the time.
Groups of strong, independent businesswomen sitting around discussing the asymmetry of your bust. And I always think you handle it with grace and laughter when we get off those meetings. And you're just like,
I'm like, we did it again. We talked about my right boob again. Yeah. And I think, you know, the other thing that we've realized now is like, in order to keep things really consistent with the sizing, like I'm not a fit model. I'm allowed to gain and lose weight.
we would like you to be a human.
We allow it. So now I think we're just trying to be more intentional with like, I think we're going to need to measure me every time we do a fitting just to see where we are to make sure that we're not making fit changes for me.
That's right. Model changes versus pattern changes.
Yeah, because we don't want to make a change for me because I suddenly lost an inch in my hips thinking that we need to make that change for the entire range when we don't, you know?
And we have a dress form that we have made to be you. We have padded and sculpted to be her measurements when you're not there.
And I don't think anyone else really has to monitor their measurements in the way that I do. I mean, I know other professions do, but like, it's a unique experience, right?
It sure is.
But I think it's also helped me on a journey to not putting too much of like a moral slant on if I gain weight, that's bad. If I lose weight, that's good. You know what I mean? These are numbers. And if my proportions change, which they are, like also telling myself that people aren't judging me for it. I actually don't know if that's true, but like I have to believe that people aren't.
I don't think people are terrible. I mean, there are terrible parts of the internet that we should never go.
Well, and also like, so what? I gained weight, everyone. Yeah. Do I need to do a post about how I've learned body positivity now? What do I need to do? You know what I mean? Or can I just like continue to exist?
Yeah. In my everyday life, I've gained weight. I was just talking about this with someone. I've gained weight this year.
Yeah.
For me to be 44 and just gain weight in a way that I don't love, but also I am not here to feel shame about it.
Yeah.
I am still a person. I have value. I still like to be in pictures with my kids on purpose because my mom never would be in pictures with us because she didn't like her body, but that's a topic for another podcast. Like you're still a person and you still have value, and who cares?
Yeah, and I've been seeing more messages of body neutrality pop up as opposed to body positivity.
Oh, I love that.
I really like it too, because I think body positivity is ringing a little bit hollow these days.
Yeah.
Because it's not like all bodies are good bodies no matter what. You know what I mean? Like that, it feels like a little like rah-rah in a way that like we want to believe, but maybe deep down we can't really get on board with.
Yeah.
We're from the same generation and we grew up in similar cultures. And I feel like it was a brutal time to be a girl.
It was brutal.
And like, you know, the Jessica Simpson,
that's the joke right now. It's like Tyra Banks and Jessica Simpson were just the fattest people anyone had ever seen, you know?
Yeah. And like the idea that we are going to transform into being body positive after that kind of cultural upbringing is a lot to ask.
Yeah.
And it puts the shame back on us for not having the right attitude about bodies when we're the victims of this.
And also, it's just a body. I mean, I love the idea of body neutrality because I say to people, and I will say over and over, my job is to deal with all different kinds of bodies. And I love that they're all real people.
Yeah.
And also, people's bodies are the least interesting thing about them for me.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's the thing I care least about.
Yeah.
I don't care if you lose weight or gain weight. I care about you as a person and how you're doing and how you're feeling. And like, body neutrality sounds great because let's just never talk about another person's body except in meetings where we discuss the asymmetry of your boobs. Okay, we have 2 sections left. We have fun and sewing. I think the fun one actually ties a little bit into inspiration. Here it is. I'd love to hear more about your obscure references and inspirations. What other shorthands do you guys have, i.e. the Jewels of the Sea or Slutty Italian Summer?
I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, I don't have anything good here. But I feel like it's going to come to us like in the middle of a work day. We're like, why didn't we talk about this thing that we always...
Totally.
Yeah, some things I think come up for me again and again are Elvis references. Mm-hmm. You know, Elvis lace shirts are a look that I just want to do over and over again, you know? And so you have to be uniquely aware of the lace shirts that Elvis wore in the 50s.
Okay, but the fun part of this for me is that for all of these things that you're about to mention, you cannot fathom that I don't know what any of them are. Yeah, exactly. Like Elvis's lace shirts. Like, okay, Elvis's jumpsuit, everyone knows. But Elvis's lace shirts from the 50s.
Yeah.
That's a deeper level, Gretchen.
I know. I am coming to
like,
understand
I just wanted to look like one of these Elvis lace shirts. You're like, oh boy, okay.
Another one is Grey Gardens. I feel like that documentary comes up again and again for me because I relate to those women deeply. And just the idea of like I'm throwing a scarf around my head and waving a little American flag around and doing a little dance and I'm like feeding the raccoons in my house. Like I feel like I'm so close to that lifestyle.
Yeah, and we keep you back from it.
As I'm luring feral cats into my back door and like swathing myself in lame. Like I just feel like Grey Gardens is it's so close. It hits so close to home for me. So I think I probably bring up Grey Gardens a lot.
Yeah.
You brought up current theater references. Like between the two of us, we have some real obscure theater references that I do think this is where you shine. You're like, oh yeah, obviously Greg Barnes' designs for Some Like It Hot influenced the Starlet Gown.
Yeah, of course. We were really excited by that back yoke.
Yeah, totally. So like things we see at theater, and then I think we have a shared, shorthand for that. And then you said vintage fabrics you think are one that I
Yeah, you'll just throw out the word lastex. Like,
and everyone knows what that is.
yeah,
right?
or like, oh, and but they use this kind of material. I just think your knowledge of fabric is untapped. Kind of.
Yeah, let's go deeper.
Yeah. Go ahead, write a book.
Write another book.
Write another book. Okay, here's a good sewing question. The difference between did you make that and oh my God, you made that is both huge and subtle. What should we be doing while sewing to make sure the reaction is the oh my God, you made that and not did you make that?
Yeah, I love this question. The biggest thing for me is just practice, right? You get more and more professional as you sew more. But part of that too is like testing the fit, refining the fit. If it's a technique you haven't done before, let's say you're applying mini pom-poms as piping. You're not doing it the first time on your garment. You're doing it on a scrap.
You're making a series of just like little fake welt pockets.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, do I like it better when I do it this way or this 8th way that I tried? You know what I mean? That cannot be stressed enough. I think people want to jump in a lot.
Yeah.
And they just try it.
Yeah.
Throw caution to the wind.
These are your lessons in delayed gratification coming through.
I'm pretty good at testing.
You are, because you want to get to like the ultimate.
Yeah.
You're like, well, this is referencing the Sabrina episode, the like spaghetti strap journey.
I set aside an hour to test spaghetti straps. I would not say that was, okay, it was fun, but yeah.
I actually think a lot of it is in the finishing, the pressing. Just press. Sewing should really be called ironing because you should spend more time ironing than sewing.
Ironing's my favorite hobby.
It is? It's your passion?
It's my passion.
Yeah, I love ironing.
It's my life's work.
But only with a gravity-fed iron.
Yes.
But, if you have a hem that is like rippling, press that hem. It takes it to the next level. If you like press all of your seams, clipping and notching. I see sometimes like people are afraid to like clip into an armhole on a test garment. And I'm like, you just made that at 1 1/4 inches shorter. Like across. And when you're making your real garment, you have to pay attention to that finishing work on the inside so that it really is precise.
Well, and there are some steps. I always say this in the video. These are the steps that go together. Grading, clipping/notching, understitching, pressing. It's like a 4-step process. You can't skip any part of it.
That's true.
You have to do them all.
Yeah.
And when you do that final press, it's going to look so much better. Like, it's so much better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to look professional.
Yeah.
And take your time. Don't try to speed sew. And hold your seam allowance. There you go. There's my list. So our next question is, what desk or table situation do you recommend for sewing? I'm struggling to buy something online. What if it's not strong enough or rattles when I speed sew?
This is a tough one.
It's a really tough one.
I know what I'm going to say is not helpful to the majority of people. You should get an industrial machine.
Yeah.
Because the thing about industrial machines is that they come with a table integrated and the motor is separate from the machine. So it doesn't shake when it sews. It's the smoothest, most sensual sewing experience you'll ever have. And it's incredibly quiet.
That's the one I would say, is if you have a little bit of space, because the table's like probably 40 inches, right? 36. Yeah. This is the Juki, which is what we sew on at the studio.
Yeah.
If you have room for it, you can't go wrong. It only does a straight stitch, so you still need a secondary like home machine for zigzag or something. But yeah, I think once people go full industrial, it's pretty hard to go back because, I mean, it's just so quiet. My sewing machine at home, which is a high-end home machine, has all the bells and whistles, sounds like a freight train when I'm sewing. The only thing that's great about it is that my husband is on a lot of like Zoom meetings, but Zoom gets rid of the sound of sewing machines.
Which we actually found out.
Yeah.
When our editor for this podcast was like running an intro by us, and we were on Zoom, and it had a sewing machine. You're listening to this podcast, so you probably know, but there's a sewing machine sound at the beginning, and she played it for us, and she was like, what do y'all think? And we're like, did you play it? Because we didn't hear anything.
I know. I was like, ooh, let me tell you something I know.
about Zoom.
Yeah.
But you have you keep saying double table, and I still don't know what you're talking about.
It's like a long, thin desk,
Okay.
right? It's only like 16-ish inches wide, but it has a place where you sit at the desk and a place where you stand at the desk.
Okay.
And so the standing portion of the desk, I have a chair that sits higher.
Yeah.
I have 2 chairs. One that sits higher so I can also sit, but that's where my computer and my extra monitor are and all of my like professional things are. And then the other one is my sewing table, and it works amazingly well.
So the lower desk.
The lower desk is what I sew at.
Okay. And it's very sturdy.
It's incredibly sturdy. This is a desk that I got on like Amazon
Yeah.
for very inexpensive. I always think people want to bring up like a 6-foot folding table. And that's the worst of all possible worlds. It will shake like you are in an earthquake the whole time.
I had Ken, our handyman, build the table that I sew on for videos, which we're looking at right now as we're in the annex. And I told him, I was like, it needs to not shake.
Yeah.
Like whatever you need to do. And he made it with steel legs. And I think one thing he did, he put the little like adjustable, so you can level the legs. Maybe also if you have like a trusted handyman who can hack an existing table to make it more stable or just build something from scratch is probably a good way to go.
Yeah. Or if you have a small old-fashioned desk that's like solid wood, heavy, something heavy. You just can't have too much tabletop without supports underneath. So when we do the retreats, this actually was like a big thing for us, was figuring out what kind of tables to use so that at the retreats, we have 4 people sit at the tables, but luckily I was getting rid of 2 of the world's heaviest wooden tables. And Theo and I can vouch that they are the heaviest ever. Tables. But the heaviness of that wood helps keep it so that 4 people can sew at a time and it's not shaking the whole time. So just like finding a good piece of wood. But yeah, 6-foot tables, worst option out there. Industrial, best. In between, sit-stand desk or a table you get someone to make for you.
Great.
Nice and easy. And this kind of goes into our other question. The listener said, it looks like we'll soon be moving into a new house where I'll have a dedicated room for sewing for the first time ever. So exciting. Do you have any advice for setting up a new sewing room from scratch? Oh, do we have advice?
We talk about this all the time.
We do. I love this topic. I can talk about it all day.
I feel like at the studio, one of us is always in the process of setting up a new sewing room somehow. So we're talking about this a lot. So, I also set up a sewing room recently in like a very small space in my house, which we took pictures of in the magazine. And I think the most important thing for me was like thinking about the different stations. Right? So you've got your sewing station, you've got your cutting station and an ironing station and maybe a serger station, then storage, right? So thinking about where those stations are going to go, what kind of storage do you need? And you convinced me to do pegboards, and I found that was like really helpful.
I love
a pegboard.
Yeah,
for scissors and stuff. And I also think aside from it being functional, it being an inspiring place to be in, I think like cannot be overstated. So like, that wallpaper you've always wanted, maybe it should go in your sewing room. Like I use it as a place to like put some of my favorite vintage things. Like I have this amazing heart-shaped Venetian glass mirror that I am just obsessed with, and it has a like star place in my sewing room. So I think, making it both functional and beautiful, like both of those things are really important.
Yeah, my space is pretty functional. It suffers a little from millennial gray. But because I have just like I installed a vinyl floor. It's a shared space, my space. It's not a single sewing studio. So half of it is a sewing studio and half of it is my husband's office, Tom's office.
Yeah.
Because he works remote. So
Yeah.
it's like one half's computers, other half cutting table. But we went pretty plain on the like wall colors and on the floor. But what I did, I saved up all my money and invested and got Liberty Tana lawn curtains made for all the windows of Strawberry Thief. So it's like that deep blue colorway. And so that's like what brings the color.
Tying this back to our tattoo discussion.
Yeah, I really do have a thing for William Morris.
You have a real thing for William Morris.
So this is because I can't look at my back, at least now I can look at these curtains while I'm sewing. But yeah, I think to make it really pretty, I think a cutting table For me, I mean, I'm a professional, so I feel like the advice is a little hard, but I'm also a middle-aged lady. I cannot be getting on the floor and I cannot be bending over all the time because of the amount I sew. I really think a table that's at like a cutting table height, which is higher than like a kitchen counter.
36 inches
36
is ideal.
That you need, because I don't want to be bending over while I'm pinning things. I remember when I used to cut things on the floor, and I am not made for that anymore. My joints don't work that way. I originally started in I shared it with a guest bedroom in our home. It was just like a teeny tiny room. Had Ken, our handyman, make a custom cutting table for me. The cutting table is hinged so that I had him make it to below the width of the smallest doorway in my house.
Right.
So that in the end, the table is like 4x5, but I can fold down this one wing so that I can move it between spaces. And then he built my pegboard onto that. So one side, the side facing closest to where I'm sitting sewing, thinking about stations, is all of my scissors, all of my rulers, all of my important pens are hanging on that cutting board. So I always know where they're going to be. Everyone knows they're not allowed to touch things on that pegboard. You can touch any other scissors in the house, but not on that pegboard.
Right.
And I also think, some kind of drawers system to put away your notions and supplies and stuff. At home, I really value having my thread directly above my machine hanging on the wall.
Yeah, that's nice.
I think you'd really like that too.
Okay. I have a window above my machine, but my thread is to the left of my machine.
Yeah.
I mean, I think more than any layout or aesthetic, I just function having like professional tools at home now, like the gravity-fed iron rather than the $200 Rowenta that doesn't work as well as the gravity-fed iron.
Yeah, I was just talking with Jackie because we were just talking about like, once you use a gravity-fed iron and you get really comfortable with it and you understand like how to be safe around it because it's hot all the time, you can't go back.
And I need the wide ironing board.
That you got me onto. I used to use just a regular home ironing board, and now I have a Barbantilla. Mm-hmm. And that Barbantilla that is wide is like, I need it.
Yeah, it's important. You got to have the wide ironing board. For me, I need the industrial machine, even at home.
Yeah.
I've got to have like all the professional tools that we have at the studio, like bolts of muslin, rolls of pattern making paper. Like there's double of everything. Yeah. It's not like, oh, this is my home studio, so I don't need it to be up to par. You know what I mean? It's like I'm going to invest. And honestly, it's weird how there's a market for industrial or like professional sewing supplies and then home sewing supplies.
Yeah.
Because they're all the same tools and like one is better and not even necessarily more expensive.
That's totally true.
Like compare an industrial machine to a high-end domestic machine. Same.
Oh, I have the feeling my home machine was like way more expensive than
than a Juki. Yeah, or like gravity-fed iron.
Yeah.
Cheaper than like half the cost of like those fancy Rowentas that everyone buys thinking they're going to be like their like holy grail iron.
Yeah. So you're going to invest in something that's going to last a really long time, and the quality you're going to get from it is worth that investment. Otherwise, like I used to work with home irons, but I was constantly replacing them.
I've been through so many home irons in my life.
We've been through so many on the film set. And then there's that button that just drives me crazy where you spray water instead of steam. And I just am constantly soaking. And if you look at any video where I was sewing, I'm constantly like soaking clothes and soaking the ironing board.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And I think the other thing, it's like a small thing, a place to put your scraps.
Totally.
Get some kind of bin. Because otherwise, like, if you're in your own space and you're not in a professional costume shop at a university where the wonderful janitorial staff comes every night and you can for equal thread garbage, you want a place, like I have a bowl right by my sewing machine, which is where I put all my thread.
Yeah, we have those tiny little
cute garbage cans.
Little like flip lid garbage cans that are like just desktop size for at the studio.
And then I just use like a big storage box, like one of those black with the yellow lid. I have one of those that's what I fill all my fabric scraps in. It lives under my cutting table so that I can cut and just throw the scraps under. Because if I have to take extra steps, I'm not going to.
No. Also flooring. I know you're not inspired by your gray flooring, your gray vinyl flooring, but it's much better than carpet would be.
When I was in our guest room, we had carpet, and pins have a real knack.
It's a nightmare.
Of the ball of the pin landing down and securing it straight up into the carpet.
Exactly.
It's just a recipe for foot pain and disaster, which I can say from experience.
I'm sure you can.
And then no one wants that while you're trying to sew something. But yeah, I mean, if you're lucky enough to have your own sewing space, crowdsource what other people say beyond us. I was just reorganizing my space this Sunday night for funsies.
You love to move furniture around.
I do love to move furniture. It actually is one of my passions. And to probably like the confusion of everyone who comes in our studio and it constantly looks different.
It's always
now.
moving around.
But yeah, don't feel like if you set it up and you don't like it, change it. Move it around.
I feel like this is a good one to solicit to for comments. Like, hey, everyone who's listening, what do you think is really important in the sewing room? Well, this is fun.
It was really fun.
Thank you all so much for listening. Like this whole season, it's been so nice getting your comments. I love when people comment on the podcast, like going to Spotify and seeing the comments there on YouTube. So I do read them. And I really hope you guys will keep commenting because it knows that you are out there. People have said some really lovely things. So thank you all for your support of season 1 of Talk Gertie to me. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait for season 2.
Yeah, it's been really lovely.
It's been
getting
very
comfortable, and vulnerable.
Very
and I am really excited about season 2.
We'll be back. All right. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye. Well, hello again, and thank you so much for joining me. That's it for this installment of Talk Gertie to me. If I had to guess, I'd probably say this episode included a lot of fashion and pop culture references, some of which are best enjoyed in a more visual medium. So be sure to check the show notes for images and links.